Playing through knee pain is not normal and it's not fun, but it has become common among pickleball players. Pickleball players are used to playing through what? Pickleball elbow, right? Nagging pain there. They're used to playing through nagging pain at their knee and nagging pain at their back, because we're all addicts and we love to play the game and we play it a lot, and we can go out there and play it for hours and hours and hours. So I want to help you change that. I want to help you stop the buck with you. I want to help you get out of pain, fix your knee. If you haven't watched my recent YouTube video on pickleball injuries, check that out.
You're not a pickleball trainer, right?
Yeah.
And what's your last name? Derrickson.
Connor Derrickson. Connor Derrickson. Yeah.
You are just, that's it. You're the pickleball trainer. You don't have, that's your name. That's the first and last. It's on your social security card.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, welcome to Pickleball Pie, the nerd side of pickleball. And so yeah, I want to talk to you about what you do when it comes to training professional pickleball players, and we can just nerd out on that.
Yeah, sure. So, I guess it depends on the goals, right? So, I train multiple professional pickleball athletes, and it's a little different than other sports because, like, if you're training a football athlete, you have 16 set games. We have 16 set games. You know, and you know it's weekly, you play on Sunday pretty much, Monday, whatever. But it's set like that, right? Like, so when it comes to pickleball, it's a little bit different because you're playing upwards of 30 events a year, which is super tough. And if you're playing all the events, you're playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And if you make any championships, right, you make the final, you're playing Sunday as well. So you're playing 4 consecutive days, potentially 25 to 30 times a year. So it's a lot. It's a lot on the body. So my goal is to get you and prepare you for the demands of that, right? Like, how do we prepare for the demands of the sport? What is the demands of the sport, right? So it's faster pace, short movements, a lot of speed work, lower body strength, and core. So that's what we do, right? Like, depending on where you start at, where your goals are, and where your baseline already is, we'll start off by building some kind of strength base, some kind of work capacity and a lower capacity base to kind of pull from, and then after that, once we kind of build that, we'll get into more strength work, more agility, speed, plyometric work as we kind of get closer to events and peaking and whatnot for certain events.
Okay, and can you tell me a little bit about dealing with injuries and injury prevention?
Yeah, injuries are tough, right? If you look at some of the stats on injuries in pickleball, most of it is a lot of trip and fall injuries, which you'll see in like the older population. So like that's what most of the studies are on. So to prevent that, obviously being more athletic, straight, and having like stable joints and whatnot. But that's different than the professional side of things. The professional side of things, you see more chronic injuries, like not even necessarily injuries, just like pain, aches, like low back pain or shoulder pain or pickleball elbow, things of that nature. So like taking preventative cares, whatever, if it's core work or preventative care within the elbow and the shoulder girdle, just kind of, you got to prepare the body for the demands of the sport. So like you got to be able to prepare the body. You can't just go out and play pickleball all the time, 30 events a year, and expect not to have some kind of chronic history.
And so you basically have created an entire setup on your property for training professional pickleball athletes. Can you tell me like the history of how you kind of started and then what prompted you to create this environment?
Sure, yeah. So I started as a strength and conditioning coach, working at different universities at first. Then I worked for the Minnesota Twins baseball club for 2.5 years. And after that, I started dabbling in the remote world of like training people remotely, personal training on the side. And then about a year ago, Connor Derrickson pulled me into the professional pickleball game. And it's been all pickleball ever since. I train people out of my property, at the house, outside, outdoor gym. I train people remotely, and it's all pickleball for the last year or so.
Wow. And so you're in St. Petersburg. It seems like a real hotspot for pickleball.
It is. St. Pete's a hot spot for sure. Like, what is it, like number go-to for most pickleball players in the country or courts or whatever. We have a ton of pickleball. It's a lot of amateurs, right? Like hot spots for professionals are probably like Fort Myers, Naples area, Southwest Florida, as well as like South Florida, like Lakeland area. We also players as well, but the amateur side is like it's crazy.
And so, what's your what's been your journey with pickleball? Tell me a little bit about that.
Playing?
I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's just like I got pulled in by Catherine about a year ago because they were looking for a trainer to kind of just like fill that bucket for her. And it seemed like a good opportunity. I was like, all right, pickleball, I heard of it, and I played it like twice. This is cool. Like, oh wow, this is really good too. I was like, this could be a cool gig. I was like, oh, these people like make some money too. It was like really cool tour. So I dove into that head first. It was awesome. It was great, and then I got to realize like, wow, this sport boom is taking off. I think I should just dive head first into this and give it all I got. And it's been awesome. So now I train people remotely all over the country, amateurs, professionals.
And what's been your experience like? I know that you've been, obviously you didn't really know much about pickleball.
Yeah.
You came into it just sort of by accident.
Yeah.
Has it helped to like play yourself and kind of understand the game on a deeper level?
Yeah, with anything, I think it helps. Like, luckily I have the background of like being a strength coach in the collegiate sector, so like I worked with not just baseball there, I worked with football and tennis and soccer and all these other sports, and you're always looking to train specific to that sport. So that kind of background is good, and then it's like, all right, now I have to I got to get out of this baseball mindset and get it back into pickleball or a different sport mindset. So like, but playing it takes it to another level of like, one, what the demands of it are, like the toll that like playing all day is like, being in the court all day, what they feel like at the kitchen, just like different things, like being able to play the sport and understand it and try to get better at it myself is imperative to being able to be a good coach.
Oh yeah, that was kind of my question, because it's interesting that professional players talk about as a trainer with no football experience, so it's interesting that you don't necessarily have to have pickleball experience to offer like substantial.
No, you don't. I think they were just looking for someone that was kind of knew what they were doing, and they taught me the ropes of like traveling to events and like being there all the time. Taught me the ins and outs of the professional tour anyway. But when it comes to a sport, like whether it's soccer, baseball, football, pickleball, like I'm looking at how people move, right? More so than like how to win, I guess. Like in my eyes, I'm looking at like more so biomechanics.
Okay, can you tell me a little more about biomechanics? Like what is that?
Yeah, biomechanics is just pretty much how the body moves, right? Like how the pelvis moves in relationship with the rib cage and how your limbs move in relationship to those. And like with pickleball, like what do you need? How do you need to be able to move to get in certain positions and hit certain shots? So like you need thoracic rotation, you need good shoulder overhead flexion, you need obviously sufficient internal and external rotation of the hips, especially like if you want to be able to hit a good swing in the backhand, but you can't rotate well to the left side, then maybe that's why that one-handed flick and that one-hander seems so much easier. Cool things like that you kind of like are picking up on all the time.
Okay. And so why don't I ask you like a few just random questions like court shoes.
Yeah.
Like what would you recommend beginner players or even intermediate players in terms of that?
No preference really. I think it just comes down to the person.
Okay.
Wide foot, narrow foot, arches. I think that having insoles is a good, because some people struggle with like some plantar issues and different foot issues. So insoles are usually a good ticket to helping that, just because everybody has different arches and whatnot. But yeah, I've been wearing Skechers. I know the Skechers that I wear. So.
Okay. And what about paddles? What's been your experience from the beginning to now?
Man, I at first being sucking and not really knowing much. Like whatever paddle was fine, not everything felt the same.
Okay.
I'm switched by Selker, so I always rep Selker, and I like their paddles a lot. They have tons of different kinds.
Yeah.
But now I'm like just a paddle junkie. I love like playing with like different paddles and just seeing the difference, feeling the difference. Like, I mean, I play with the Power Air, or I play with like that's my favorite. You know, the Engage is good. The new Engage that came out. My buddy Graham has a new paddle, as well. The Burg is what it's called. Great paddle. But I hit it everything. I'm a paddle junkie for sure.
Awesome. And what's the deal with eye protection? I know a lot of people talk about, that's one of the main injuries in pickleball. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, most people don't really understand what the need is because they just play at their level, right? 35, 5, whatever. But if you're here at a pro event or you're watching pros, it's like these balls are freaking moving. So I understand the purpose and the need and want that people they're desiring more eyewear because they just want to protect their face. So I get it. There's some good companies out there. I don't think it hinders you. I think the only reason people never wore eyewear before is because everybody's tennis background and nobody wears glasses or anything like that. So it's I don't think it's gonna mess you up. I just recommend not having polarized.
Not polarizing. Why?
Just there's different glares that can happen, and there's usually without polarizing you can kind of see clear. With polarizing you
Interesting. I think that's exactly what's going on with my sunglasses. I'm every time I put them on, I feel like I just cannot see the ball properly. So that is what it is. Polarization. Okay, awesome. Good to know. Thank you for that. All right, now my podcast started with this question initially, because it used to be called the dark side of pickleball, but now it's the nerd side, because people, it seemed like not everybody was comfortable going a little deeper into, the darker parts of ourselves.
Sure.
So no pressure, but is there a dark side of pickleball, for you, or
what does that mean? What do you?
Yeah, for example, some people it's the cost of pickleball, the shoes, the paddles, all that stuff wearing out. Other people, it's their own mindset is the dark side for them, not being able to get out of their own head so they can actually play their full potential.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
there is. There's always a dark side, sure. It's not the cost because I luckily haven't bought a paddle yet. I'm just lucky in that fashion. It's probably definitely just mental, sometimes I'll go out there and beat a team, whatever, 2 and 3, and then I'll play the same team and get pickled. What did I just do? Make goals. So my dark side is, freaking mental, man. I would say.
Yeah. Real.
It is, dude. It's sometimes you just gotta make balls. It's something to be perfect and make winners and make these perfect roll things. Sometimes just gotta make balls. Freaking get in my head.
Yeah. See a lot of that going on, right? I think everybody can relate to that. So thank you for sharing. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Any tips or tricks or anything for beginners?
Not a lot. I would just do something off the court. I try to get everybody to if you're a human being, right? You should probably be exercising. If pickleball is your exercise and you love it, maybe do a little supplemented training off the court once, twice a week to make sure that you don't get hurt on the courts and can't do what you love. So whatever that looks like for you, body weight exercises, band exercises, or home gym, I would just recommend doing some workouts off the court, doing some off-court training.
Awesome. So, all right. So if anybody's interested in your services, where can they find you?
Yep. C2 Performance. .org, .pickleballtrainer.com, or you go to .pickleballtrainer. That's my Instagram handle.
Connor, thank you very much for sharing your nerd side of pickleball.
Tendinopathy, what I want to talk about, and tendinitis. Okay, so tendinitis more so is the inflammation of the joint or inflammation of the tendon, right? So if you have patellar tendinitis, the tendon is predominantly inflamed. Whereas tendinopathy is the actual damage of the tendon, right? You're actually causing micro tears within the tendon. They both happen from chronic workloads, right? Repetitive jumps, repetitive sprints, repetitive pounding on a hard surface.